Hey guys, it is Waiting Spy, and after yet another lengthy hiatus, I have returned to bless you all with my extravagant opinions. My Black Clover review is probably the video that I've enjoyed making the most on this channel so far, so I can confidently say that I'll be continuing my anime review series, and who knows, maybe I'll bring some guests on the show. Anyway, with that out of the way, enjoy today's episode of Anime Review. So, as you can tell from the title, in today's video, I'll be reviewing Dr. Stone. In February, I watched it to see if it was good or not, and I'm glad I did because this anime is absolutely amazing. I had intended to watch Dr. Stone since August last year, and now that I've watched it, I can make some more of my terrible content. I guess you can say I killed two birds with one stone. I'm not keeping that in. That's not staying in the video. Okay, for those of you who are new here, let me explain how the ranking system works here. The review is split into 5 parts: plot, characters, openings, animation, and enjoyability. I'll give each of these categories a score out of 10, meaning at the end of the video we'll have a score out of 50. I'll also be creating a tier list from all the anime that I rank. I'll put the score requirements on the screen right about now. With a score of 40, Black Clover was just about able to scrape into A tier last time. Will Dr. Stone be able to top it? Let's find out. But before we start the video, only a very small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed to my channel, which is probably because I've had so many new viewers recently, but if you could subscribe, that would be wonderful. It's completely free and it helps out a lot. Also, this probably goes without saying, but I'm issuing a spoiler warning for Dr. Stone up until the end of Season 2. If you hadn't watched that far, then feel free to leave and come back, as there will probably be some major spoilers. And without further ado, let's get into the stuff you all came here to see. First of all, let's talk about the plot of Dr. Stone and its score of 8. The plot of Dr. Stone is quite similar to the cliche we all know too well. There is a deadly disease spreading around the world, and the protagonist has some sort of immunity or something, so they're tasked with finding a cure and saving the world. Yeah, it's something like that. Except it's not an illness, but all humans, and swallows for some reason, on Earth have been turned to stone. Emphasis with on Earth. And it's not spreading, it just kinda happened one day. Senku, the protagonist and science big brain of the story, manages to stay awake for 3,700 years in its petrification, while also counting the seconds, and eventually wakes up along with his 2 best friends, Taiju and Yuzuriha. Senku had always had a passion for science, and he had already been making contraptions and even found a way to bring people back from their stone forms before Taiju awoke. However, the first person that Senku chose to awaken was Tsukasa, a student who had earned the title of the strongest high school primate due to his insane raw strength and fighting abilities. He ended up forming his own kingdom, a kingdom with the goal to get rid of the old way of life when the world was run by the old people with money and create a better world without them. He was so fixed on this goal, in fact, he started beheading the stone forms of the elderly and privileged. Tsukasa claimed Senku's source of the revival fluid so that he couldn't get any more manpower for his kingdom of science. But eventually, after Taiju and Yuzuriha were sent to spy in Tsukasa's kingdom, Senku found a village of people who were somehow still alive after the petrification. I won't spoil the reason behind that for you, because it's actually quite exciting to see how it all links back to Senku. He encourages them all to help him take down Tsukasa's army and to help him in his scientific escapades? Escapades. Dr. Stone is really interesting because everyone is always talking about the amazing technology we will have created thousands of years from now, and this story basically says, but what if we didn't? And another great thing about it is that you're always learning something new. Whether it be how instant noodles are freeze-dried or the science behind creating a light bulb, the scientific processes used in this show are completely real. It's able to stay true to reality while being so unique and creative at the same time, and that's how it was able to get such a high plot score. Now, let's take a look at the characters. They've managed to score themselves an impressive 9 out of 10. In the Kingdom of Science, each character fills a specific role, for the most part. On the Science team, there's Senku, Chrome, and also Gen, kinda, and also Magma, that one time. On the Makers team, there's Kasaki and Chrome, and also Gen, kinda, and also Rory, that one time. On the fighting team, there's Kinro, Genro, Kohaku, and Magma. And also Suika. Okay, so maybe their roles aren't that specific, but their jobs are very well thought out, as expected from a mastermind such as Senku. It's really interesting to see how Senku and Gen interact with people of the village who have no prior knowledge of the way that the world worked before the petrification. And honestly, I think Senku might be my favorite anime protagonist of all time. However, I'm an indecisive person, so I guess we'll never know. But I can confidently say that he's up there with Joseph Joestar and Saitama. Also, every character's personality is so vivid. Senku's a very logical person and doesn't normally get too attached to things other than science. Gen is normally a very sweet person and maybe a little cowardly, but he knows how to be manipulative and cunning thanks to his past as a mentalist. Chrome is the most enthusiastic one of the group, and you have to love his loud voice. Magma sometimes rushes into things without thinking ahead, and his bloodlust gets out of control from time to time, but his quick thinking has saved others on multiple occasions. Although Tsukasa's kingdom didn't exactly get a lot of screen time in Season 1, they're a much bigger part of Season 2. And Tsukasa is an amazing villain because, similarly to Stain from My Hero Academia and Patry from Black Clover, their motives are clear from the get-go and it's easy to see where they're coming from. Tsukasa has made some pretty great arguments for the new world he wants wants to create, and he was able to encourage many people to join his army with his prowess and charisma, as well as threats. And now, it's time for the award for Best Character, and today it's going to Gen Asagiri. Along with Senku and Kohaku, Gen is one of the most popular characters in Dr. Stone, and with good reason. He was originally revived by Tsukasa because, as one of the most successful mentalists in the old world, he thought that Gen would be able to convince people to join Tsukasa's army. But first, he was tasked with making sure that Senku was definitely dead, as Tsukasa was thought to have killed him. However, he himself was convinced to join the Kingdom of Science after Senku saved his life and treated his wounds, and the deal was sealed with the promise of an ice-cold bottle of cola. Apart from Chrome, Gen is probably the character who has had the most development. When he was first introduced, he was an incredibly shallow man, even stating himself that he just goes to the place that benefits him most in that particular moment, which is why he sided with Tsukasa in the beginning, and it's also why he joined the Kingdom of Science simply for the promise of a bottle of cola. But now, Gen really has changed for the better, and he seems very loyal to Ishigami Village. Gen also shares a very special connection with Senku, as they're the only two in the Kingdom of Science who have first-hand knowledge of the old world, and even with his limited knowledge of science, Gen was able to bring everyone together to surprise Senku with a telescope on his birthday. At the beginning of the series, I really wanted to hate him, but I just couldn't. He's such a complex character, and as one of the most important members of the Kingdom of Science, he's easily likable, and his knowledge of mentalism has even earned Senku an extra spy inside of Tsukasa's army. His skill set is a unique one that's not usually seen in anime, and it's because his character is so different that I love him so much. Okay, after quite literally writing 350 words about why Gen is my favorite character, let's move on to the openings. I've decided to give Dr. Stone an 8 out of 10, and bearing in mind that the bar for openings is 10 out of 10 for Black Clover's openings, that's pretty impressive. The animation on the openings, especially the third one, just feels so smooth and idyllic, which is great to see, as from time to time the animation in the actual show can just look a little bit choppy, and as well as this, the music is always amazing too. However, in terms of hidden spoilers in the openings, which is always my favorite thing to look for, there's not much there in Season 1, as the story was way less complex. There was that one part of Opening 2, but there isn't really much to look for. I also feel that Openings 1 and 2 were just far too similar, even though I did love them both. And for that reason, the award for Best Opening goes to Opening 3, Rakuen. Now, don't get me wrong, because it's so different, the opening definitely took some warming up to, by which I mean, I don't know, maybe a few hours, but after catching up to Season 2 the day I watched the first episode, I was in love with this opening. One of the specific things that I loved about this opening is something that is also found in openings from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Black Clover, and that is the subtle references to things that happen in the show. I always love seeing moments from the opening happen in the show, such as, and this is obviously getting into major spoiler territory, the promise between Senku, Chrome, and Gen, which I actually don't remember what the promise was about, but oh well, Hyoga's face reveal, Gen's dynamite airplane, and Tsukasa's sister, oh my god. It also very subtly explores the backstories of Tsukasa's clan members, which is another part of the show that I love so much. The villains get a chance to explain their side of the story, and it's actually quite a reasonable way of thinking, minus their extreme methods. And although Tsukasa is the carnation of Twitter.com and Penelope Scott, I wouldn't say he's evil. But yes, as shown in my top 40 anime openings video, which you should watch right now by the way, click the box in the corner, this is in fact my 8th favorite anime opening of all time. So I'd say it's pretty deserving of this. Moving on, let's talk a little bit about the animation. And its score of 7 out of 10 leaves something to be desired. The reason being, Season 1. Don't get me wrong, there are some beautifully animated moments, but overall it's not amazing. In fact, I go so far as to say it's kind of bad, but I will say that the art style manages to stay consistent. However, in Season 2, the shorter number of episodes not only gave the anime faster pacing, but also gave them more time to animate each episode, leading to some beautiful results. In contrast to Season 1, with its heavy emphasis of art over animation, Season 2 is an absolute masterpiece in both aspects. I'm hoping to see the same quality in Season 3, but since Season 1 is over 2/3 of the show as of now, Season 2 upgrade can't increase the score too much. Animation is normally not a category I dwell on for too long, because for me, it's easy to look past it. Everyone's complaining about the Langer-Wrangler CGI in Stone Ocean, and I'm here like, whoa, what a powerful and versatile stand he has. What a creative use of weather report stand to escape from him. Blah blah blah. Anyway, let's get onto the enjoyability score. And for my second favorite new gen anime, it has to have at least one 10 out of 10 score. As a person who enjoys learning, the concept of Dr. Stone as a show fascinates me. The fact that the mangaka regularly takes breaks from writing to do scientific research shows the level of detail put into this show, and while it's not always going to be 100% accurate, the pure dedication makes me trust the information I'm getting. Putting such a fun twist on a cliched plot unexpectedly works really well with Dr. Stone. I absolutely love Battle Shonen, and the fact that it manages to sit as my 4th favorite anime just below 3 amazing Battle Shonens, despite not being particularly battle heavy itself, is pretty impressive. As someone who's about 20 chapters ahead of the anime's current position in the manga, I'm excited to see new characters get animated in Season 3. Every fight scene is like a battle of wits, and seeing the resourcefulness that the characters have to win a battle against the strongest man alive in a matter of seconds made me realize that this anime and manga has so much thought behind it compared to others. It has the attention to detail that JoJo has, the amazing strategy and development that Black Clover has, and the pirates that One Piece has. So yes, as I said before, Dr. Stone has earned its 10 out of 10 for enjoyability, and so much more. And with that out of the way, Dr. Stone's final score is 42 out of 50, edging its way closer to S tier than even Black Clover did. I unironically started writing the script in February, so if you've enjoyed my analysis, and you haven't already, I ask that you take the time to subscribe. The dream of 200 subs by the end of the year is now far gone, but I still have a 150 subscriber special to plan, so keep looking forward to that. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later.